Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of On About Nothing podcast. For a lack of better word, I think consistency has started us in terms of appearing on video more often than we would like to. But I guess we're here. Bolish is still reeling from the fact that the NFL showed him Shege yesterday. LMH cannot get over the fact that Man United players are gradually becoming criminals every day. It's almost like as if they are practicing criminology in Old Trafford. Kule is also here, even though we can't see his face. It's a practical reminder that we're all in Nigeria and anything can happen at any point in time. You can have the greatest plan to show up for a video podcast, and NEPA will tell you that today you will not win. Um, Kule, I think we should just start on the fact that after Rubiales' saga and every other thing, after he was bullish, I don't get this thing with I know Piers Morgan is always chasing clouds, but I don't get this thing with Piers Morgan and criminals always coming to do interviews together. Or people that are I don't understand it fully. Anyway, I think we lost Kule there, he has gone. Because Bullish, the simple thing Rubiales should have done after this incident happened, after the whole thing happened was just resign and move on. But you called a press conference. Everyone thought you was going to resign. You came there as Hitler and she's screaming, I will not resign. I will not resign. I will not resign. To make matters worse, they said your mom went to church to lock herself up and nobody should enter the church, that she will not eat until her son is forgiven. Like the whole thing has been a facade bullish. Like that's just been crazy.
So I think this saga it was a situation of where sequence of events come together to beautifully expose something that is going on, something that is happening. Because when you have a situation whereby players were complaining that they don't want to participate in the team because there are some tension between with their current manager, what some things he asks them to do, how he behaves towards them, is not appropriate. He sometimes borderline insulting or abuse, and then you have a situation whereby all that was swept under the rug because they felt the people that were supposed to investigate, which is the Spanish FA, which would have been led by Rubiales, we now find out that he himself is a bigger fool on a global stage. Because you need to understand the way something like this works. When you have someone with so much confidence and lack of self-awareness to do something like that on a global stage, you now start to wonder, okay, behind closed doors, what's this person capable of doing? Because the truth is, we need to really, really analyze it like that. Okay, if someone is confident and lacks self-awareness to do something like that on the global stage in front of the whole world, where all the cameras are watching, what does he do behind closed doors? Because he looked very awkward, he looked very cringy, and the number one thing that should have happened in the first place, because now the Spanish FA is trying to redeem himself, but we've been talking about the stupidity that is going on in the Spain RAFEF, Spain FA, La Liga Commission. They've been ridiculous with their decision making and everything about them in the last couple of years. So you expect the Spanish FA. That's why I said we need some sort of clear guidelines. I know it sounds like a broken record, but about how these things should be addressed. I mean, a template. Because let me give you an example of what I mean. We know that if you are found guilty of, let's say, stealing, robbery, or armed robbery, depending on what you do, there's the stipulated years of sentencing that happens, and then you can go to court and prove your case and whatnot. But at least there's a guideline for what should happen in case like that. And I think it has gotten to a point where FIFA, UEFA, even though they are not the most trustworthy people to expect reform from, they should have stuff that if you do stuff like this, if you do this, the way you have anti-doping laws, where if you do commit doping laws, this is the number of ban, this number of, we should have stuff like that also in football. So that it do not get to the point where someone, maybe because he has cornered favors within the FA, or maybe people in the FA, they are not sure, they don't want to offend him, they come to and do that mediocre and ridiculous press conference with it. So About Piers Morgan, that one I don't care. I don't care about Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan is always, he's always he's a forerunner for clickbait clout based journalism. So I'm not worried about him. But the truth is, the guy should have resigned from the onset immediately. And the fact that he did not resign immediately and the FA did not call him to order to resign immediately shows that there needs to be some sort of reform of whatever is going on within the FA.
Because Polish mentioned something regarding bylaws. Like if there are laws that govern some of these things, it will go a long way to help. Because I remember telling someone yesterday that the person was talking about Messi, Greenwood, and Anthony Saga. And my mindset was in the NFL now, for example, after Deshaun Watson was found not guilty in the courts, then it became a civil society, a situation of morality. The NFL decided that okay, we are going to ban you for 10 games. Cavalry bet in the league, we're banning you for a year. Like in the NFL, these things are stipulated. Domestic violence gets you a season, depending on how things work. I think, don't you think that FIFA needs to get to a point whereby, even if, for instance, Greenwood or even Anthony, for example, now, even if you end up being found not guilty by the court of law, but according to our bylaws, according to the laws that were stipulated already, that every other footballers and coaches, FA president, and all those things have agreed to, this is your punishment.
Yeah, sorry, I think you froze for a while there. I don't know if you're the one freezing or I'm the one freezing, but I feel we've had this discussion a couple of times where we've pointed out the fact that a lot of these things have to be written laws and not just social construct that would now become a debate. And in cases of clubs or institution whereby there's no concrete leadership or the leadership structure is faulty, like the United case, and we've seen it time and time again, is the fact that the governing body like the FA or FIFA in the general sense can lay down or draw out laws within this premise. Okay, if you are caught gambling, if you are caught or if you are found gambling, not don't let me say caught, if you are found gambling or if there's an accusation of domestic violence and stuff like that. Okay, let me just rewind back a little bit. The Ivy Tony case is quote and unquote almost like it was being scapegoated because there has been issue of players in the lower league that have done something similar. Some have even done worse than what he did, and no judgment was passed. I think there was a particular guy, maybe Rotterdam or thereabout, that was given a fine of £10,000, and I'm like, okay, does this set a precedence for people to say, you know what, let me just start gambling? I'm a player. I can gamble by proxy or by third party as long as I know that my fine is not going to be more than this. And then came the Ivy Tony case where he was sanctioned. He was given, I think, 8 or 10 months, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember vividly. And, there's almost like there's different punishment or different jury for different instances. Like, it makes no sense. There should be written down laws, and I must be very sincere. This might sound a little bit judgmental, but I feel the reason why a lot of these laws are not in place is because even those that are in position of leadership in these organizations, in these institutions, are perpetrator of this evil. I am not going to name names, but there has been instances in the French FA, there has been instances in the Spanish FA. I am very sure that if we should do like a forensic or a subpoena within those organizations, there would have been multiple cases of top officials betting on matches in which they have direct influence or direct relationship with a player in the team and stuff like that. Sexual issues, the emotional kissing and the whole, like there has been multiple instances. There was the Eric Abidal case in PSG, was it PSG or France? Multiple issues like that. This is because people that are supposed to be the custodian of the law are actually perpetrators of the same crime that they're supposed to fight. So I think bringing a structure like something similar to the NFL would be something that would help this game long term. There was the FIFA corruption case, so we all know how corruption has eaten deep into the bone marrow of this sport. So it's almost difficult for you to call these people warriors. That's just what I think about it.
Kule, before I leave this topic, like the main fact that he had to take Hermoso to file in a sexual abuse, a sexual assault case against Rubiales for him to now decide, okay, I'm going to go and meet PS Morgan and say I'm going to resign, shows that sometimes I think these administrators in football wield too much power. UEFA are saying, oh, yes, it's on our committee, but we can't do anything. He had to take FIFA to suspend him, and he was like, oh, FIFA can suspend me. Like, everything just comes down to the rules or the laws being very, very shady.
Yeah, can everybody hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, so I don't even think the issue is just the rules being shady. I think the issue is the entire structure of football's administration. It's one of the most horrendous rule administration of in any area of life. Because even till now, now that Rubiales has resigned, he didn't even say like what he did was wrong. He didn't admit that what he did was wrong. He just basically his point was that, well, since nobody's on my side again, and then I'm just going to resign. Then after the fact that he created a false statement in Hermoso's honor, tried to sue Hermoso for lying after he says he didn't consent to it, or what the Spanish FA did as well. So it just feels like this rot is not just Rubiales, it's not even just Judge David. It's probably even beyond the Spanish FA. I think it's the entire culture of football administration. Because if FIFA and UEFA were fine to sit on this, not just for the past month or so, but also for the past 18 months when the players have complained about the manager and the FA itself, it's very, very worrying. And we've seen how FIFA has operated over the past how many years, from the FBI investigation to the pat on the back that we're investigating ourselves and we see that we did nothing wrong. It just feels like this is an organization that is rotting to its core. And frankly, which is why if someone wants to come and suggest like a new Super League, for instance, if you genuinely propose that, oh yes, we're going to create a new administration that runs on accountability, people will actually want to buy that because they know FIFA UEFA a joke.
Anyway, away from the whole Rubiales and FIFA saga, like I mentioned, is overreaction Monday, and aside from the fact that Ballon got his heart broken, there were a lot of exciting games in the NFL over the weekend, and I think the best place to start is whatever the New York Giants thought happened last year. Ballon, Dallas Cowboys said no. You understand? Like, we are going to beat you people. We're going to beat you people to the point that even your quarterback will beg for Messi and will still say no. Do you understand? Like, by the time you know that video of this guy, Wole Agba, when he was still young, when he was saying, by the time I'm done with you, by the time I'm through with you, that was what the Cowboys were telling the Giants that by the time I'm through with you, you understand that life is in 3D. Because to have the Giants scored no points, and that was I even thought maybe the Niners and the Steelers was bad until I saw what the Cowboys were doing to the Giants, and I'm wondering, they just paid Daniel Jones $40 million per year, and nothing is happening. Like, is it that the Cowboys have become this good, or the Giants just regress with the whole Saquon Barkley saga over the summer?
So I'll say it's a combination of two things. A combination of the fact that the Cowboys defensively have gotten better than they were last year. And mind you, remember they were very, very dominant defense last year. Last 2 years, actually, since Dan Quinn has gotten there. But the Giants also they didn't progress as much as people thought or people were expecting them to progress. Because the fact that you paid your quarterback 40 million doesn't automatically change the talent and the abilities of your quarterback. So yes, you brought out the checkbook. It doesn't change the tape on Daniel Jones. And what will happen is, someone like the Cowboys, they look at Daniel Jones and say, okay, can Daniel Jones beat us down the field? And mind you, the Cowboys brought in Stefan Gilmore. So
yes,
you are not just throwing against regular cornerbacks. You are throwing against a Hall of Famer in Stefan Gilmore. you are training against Trevon Diggs. So if you are actually going to target someone in that game, you are most likely going to target Trevon Diggs. Okay. Now, who is the wide receiver that Daniel Jones has to target? Can you mention any of the Giants wide receiver?
Darius Slate.
What is a dioslating? Is that dioslating in Togolese language is slate. You know slate that we used to write chalk slate. That's what it is means in Togolese language. So you have dioslating as jeans. Like people that on a normal day they probably will not even make Colorado's team. You have them as the quarterback room for an NFL franchise. So it felt like, because I saw what the Giants general manager, what he said during that second Barkley saga, and it felt like serious Delulu, like confirmed Delulu, because the person you are supposed to pay. So in the first place, if I'm second Barkley, I'm coming into training camp with the mindset of I'll do my job because you guys are paying me franchise tag. I want to collect my salary, but I'm not going to do over and beyond. I'm not going to do the kind of things I did last year where I was just sensational, or I will not have. And again, the vibes in the locker room was probably awkward and broken when he came back, because he was their best player. He was the galvanizer. He was the troop, getter, everything. But I'm sure when he got back to locker room this time, I was like, how you doing, everyone? Hope you are good. Like on his own, just chilling. So it's just delusion to think that even the best quarterbacks, the ones that are talented, that we've seen their talent from high school to college to NFL, they need elite receivers. Joe Burrow needs elite receivers. Deshaun Watson has elite receivers. Jalen Hurts has elite receivers. Like, you need elite receivers. So how much more? So what I saw yesterday was a case of, or this morning, anyways, it was a case of Cowboys knowing that this guy, even against poor cornerbacks, cannot make that downfield throw. So if he cannot make the throw downfield against poor cornerbacks, how is he going to try us against our all-pro, all-of-fame cornerbacks? So therefore, we can risk and forget about the back and then just go all out and try to get him. And it looks like they were not, Giants were not prepared. The opening national anthem from Queen Latifah was more entertaining than all they did throughout the game. And the Cowboys defense would, I think at this point we already know that they will be wonderful. Like, we already know that. And also the offensive line for the Giants, except for their left tackle, you can't really say okay there's any real solid quality on there. So Cowboys will always molest a lot of teams, but they can do that because they are sure someone like Daniel Jones will not make the throw down the field. So I'll say yes, Cowboys. And again, they didn't really have to do anything much on offense because they were they were getting touchdowns from special teams, getting touchdowns from defense. So I think it's a combination of Cowboys defense improving, Dan Quinn dialing it up, getting more talent, Mazi Smith, stopping the run easily, and then Giants being a delusional franchise, not getting any wide receiver. I still don't understand how DeAndre Hopkins was available and all these teams that obviously needed wide receivers did not go out to sign him, because DeAndre Hopkins is a option that is always open. So even if you are throwing to DeAndre Hopkins, you are throwing in such a way that that, but Daniel Jones is poor. So let me not even say, maybe DeAndre Hopkins, maybe they offered him money and he was like, who is going to be throwing to me? Daniel Jones. No,
I don't even think DeAndre Hopkins would have looked at that and said Daniel Jones is throwing to me, because if you saw the game between Tennessee and
no, that's what I'm saying, that DeAndre Hopkins, his agent called him and told him, hello, Giants, I'm assuming this didn't happen, but this is me creating a fake scenario. Hello, DeAndre Hopkins. Giants say you should come. Have they changed their quarterback? No. Who is their quarterback?
Daniel Jones.
How many? The same one? He said yes. Don't worry. Tanai, even though he's poor, I will choose him. Like, so I know the Giants will bounce back. They will win some games. They will look good, but against the NFC elites, 49ers, Eagles, Cowboys, they would always look the way they looked yesterday.
The funny part is for all the predictions that we made, because at some point when we were discussing before the game started, we felt like, okay, the Niners and the Steelers was going to be a game of two defenses trying to nullify each other, stop each other, and whatever. What we did not plan was, Brandon, are you saying, you know what, today is the day. Today is the day that I will show you people that I'm also that guy. Like, I'm worthy of being a proper number two. Because it felt like the Steelers forgot that, okay, Deebo Samuel is not the only receiver that the Niners have. There's a player on the other side called Brandon Ayuk, and for every time Brock Purdy took a snap, Ayuk created space and was open, and they kept punching the Steelers in the mouth.
So I think for the Steelers game is a combination of things that I think work to create the atmosphere that we got in that game. So in the first place, the Steelers defense were on the field for too damn long.
Yes.
And you had a situation where Cameron Amond was injured and he could not come back. So, when we're having this conversation, we're talking about, TJ Watt is the guy that you account for. TJ Watt always get to the quarterback, and stuff like that.
And he got 3 sacks actually.
But you know that Cameron Amond is one other person that if TJ Watt is beating the drum here, he's playing the guitar. So they are the life of the the defensive line. And if you don't have that, because the Niners offensive line, as good as they are, if you are able to generate at least some pressure on the quarterback, you can disrupt what Brock Purdy is trying to do. But when Brock Purdy is able to sit down, eat lunch, drink tea, take a bath, take a shit, wake up, stand up, dance before flinging the ball. Obviously, because the corners work with time. If you give the wide receiver 4-5 seconds, at some point they will get open. So that's I think, and it got to a point where the Steelers were just tired. They were worn out because they were on the pitch for so long, because the Steelers offense could not do anything. They could not run the ball, and I think that's something Mike Tomlin probably needs to address. The offensive coordinator of the Steelers, it looked like he had zero idea how the Niners defense were planning. Like,
I don't want sorry to interrupt you, but you mentioned offensive coordinator of the Steelers, because Matt Canada has been offensive coordinator. This is his 3rd season. And for every season that he has been offensive coordinator, the Steelers fans have complained on Twitter, in person, in the stadium, what have you.
Maybe that's Mike Tomlin's mood.
That's a logical explanation. Maybe he has his nudes, because I don't know what level of friendship is this or love is this, that for someone like Eric Bieniemy to even be available and for you to decide that, okay, you know what, I will stick with my Canada, is just beyond reason.
Not even. It might not. Eric Bieniemy might not have worked, because the idea is to look towards the head coaching job. So maybe the route to get to head coaching job might not be really present in the Steelers, but there are so many offensive coordinators that they could have gotten, because your first game of the season, what I would expect is like what I saw Patriots defense do to the Eagles offense. You have the whole the whole off-season training camp to prepare for that first game, to ensure that at least you do simple things to make your life easy in that game. And we all know that as good as they are offensively, that's the 49ers, they are one of their biggest strong points is their defense. Where you have Fred Warner, Ufonga, you have Ward as a cornerback, you have Nick Bosa, they brought in Javon Aggrey from the Eagles. So their defense is their stronghold, and they fortified the defense. So what I expected is at least some simple schemes, because you have he's not a rookie quarterback, but he's still very young. You need to find a way to make things very easy for him, especially in that game. I think they will bounce back. It's just that I don't have any confidence in the offensive coordinator that could not even create a scheme to make things easier for his quarterback in the first game of the season, because it was weird. But we'll see how the season turns out. But Steelers might end up being the last in that division.
AFC North is a very tough division. I know that LMJ saw the movie American American Story, the movie of Cortona, I decided, oh my God, I'm going to love the NFL to death. I don't know if he followed it this week to build on his love, or maybe it was just the off-season grad. I saw the movie, I like it. Maybe I'll watch the NFL this season, or maybe I will
No,
not. Who cares?
I am trying to like stamp my feet into the sport generally, but over the weekend I've not really had chance to catch up with the games, time difference, and all of that. But the New York Giants game was one that I saw highlights, and I was like, I don't know if anybody plays NFL rival here. Like, there are times I shut out team like that, and I'm like, this is not supposed to like. At that point, you'll be like, oh, this game is not interesting. So that highlight was terrible. There were terrible interceptions. There were terrible sack. There was one time that the New York Giants were very close to the touchdown line and they just fumbled the ball. I was like, what's going on here? Like, it's here trained in the offseason at Tony. So it's very interesting because I think I just started watching last season. The last Super Bowl was my first, and it was quite interesting. Contrary to the myth that the game was very complicated, I was able to follow and I understood most of the plays, the tactics, the formation, the fact that whenever we're on the defense, the whole offensive team has to go out and the whole defensive team has to defensive part of the team has to come in, the special team. I think also playing NFL rival the game also helped buttress my knowledge about the game. So you guys will be seeing more of me in the NFL this season.
Anyway, before we start seeing more of you, Bolish, I think we mentioned the Niners being a shock result, but the way the Browns, like the way the Browns went after the Bengals yesterday, showed that the comment that Jama Chase made about them saying stuff like, "Oh, it's Cleveland now. Cleveland is Cleveland," and those guys came out and they were at some point. Miles Garrett was dancing on the defensive line, like, "Okay, now I'm coming again. Don't worry." And I'm like, are you for real? Like, you're doing this against Bengals, like a team that is tipped to at least compete in the AFC, even expected to win that very tough AFC North division. Like, and to make matters worse, Joe Burrow just got his money. So all eyes on him, highest paid player in the history of the NFL, blah, blah, blah. And the whole team laid a complete egg yesterday.
Remember, I told you that in the last 4 games, Joe Burrow has only won one against the Browns. When we're having this conversation, I told you that they're just even so. I remember I was thinking of how do I quantify what was going on, and I remember at the height of Barcelona's like success, where we're good, like really good in Spain, in Europe, 2009, 2010, 2011, we beat teams, when we go into games thinking, oh, we are playing this team 4 goals, 3 goals, 4 goals, like that was the mindset. There will be games where Espanyol will come into Barcelona and will be struggling to beat them 1-0. Like we'll struggle, like everything will like we'll struggle to beat them 1-0, we'll struggle to win. Like we'll go to Espanyol's house. For some reason, De La Peña will loop Van Ness from half court, and then they'll beat us 2-1. So I was thinking that I think it's almost the same thing with the Browns and the Bengals rivalry, where rivals, hometown rivals or state rivals, whatever you want to call it, and then they just have their number. The city is fired up, the fans are fired up, the dog pound is fired up, everyone is fired up. And because you have a quarterback that is on a prove-it tour, he's probably paying attention, listening to everything they are saying. He's probably more humble, working harder than before. That's Deshaun Watson, because he's the only one with a fully guaranteed contract in the NBA.
Contract in the NFL, yeah.
In the NFL, sorry. So when you have someone like that, he's obviously talented. Obviously, last year was an aberration. So he's probably on a tour of trying to remind people, oh, you must have forgotten that I am Deshaun Watson, the guy in Houston, Texas that threw for 4,000 plus yards and stuff like that. So I just felt like yesterday it was going to be difficult, especially with Joe Burrow missing, training camp due to injury, just coming back, not really getting himself. But I think they'll be fine. Bengals will be fine. Joe Burrow will be fine. They will probably go on to win 7 out of the next 8 games and stuff like that, because they're obviously very talented squad. It just felt like I like what I was seeing from the Browns. I like the way, a lot of people got touches. It was not just, oh, I'm a Cooper that was eating, everybody was flowing. And then when you have a running game, when you have the chop, the bell cat, you are likely going to do some damage. So that's why I said there's a very, 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 very real possibility that Steelers, your team, might find themselves, languishing at the bottom of the Gbogbo. Are you still there?
I can hear you, but maybe Wale is frozen also. Wale? Hello, Wale?
Okay, so let's go on. Maybe you will join us.
Okay.
Let's continue on the journal. I can see we're supposed to talk about the international break. So I think the question to just ask is, out of all the games and all the different matches going on, is there any particular maybe country or team that impressed you, and you feel like, or any aspect that impressed you or that depressed you among the teams?
No,
you saw?
I think
Particular one.
I think the highlight of the international break has to be the woeful outing, the woeful run that the German national team has been on for the last, I think, 4.5 years or thereabout. Is the fact that nothing seemed to work. As talented as the German team has been, and as talented as the German team would always be, it seemed like, to me, though Ansu Flick has been the one to lose his job, but I feel like there's more of an administrative problem with the German national team. It's the fact that they've been struggling. There's no cohesion. The backroom staff has been all over the place. And I know it's easy to just look back at the short-term problem and be like, you know what, Flick, you need to go. But we need to rewind back that for the last 2 World Cups, they've not made it out of the group at all. Like, their World Cup outing has been terrible for the last 2 World Cups. So, and that naturally tells you that this has been on for more than 4 years. So I think it's something that the German FA needs to look back on. And it might look like a conspiracy, but something I've noticed is that whenever the Bayern team as a club struggles, it almost translates to the national team. And the Bayern team has been terrible for a very long while. The only saving grace is the fact that every other person in the league decides not to turn up, and that is why they've been able to keep winning the league. And you will see that in international competition, in the UEFA Champions League, they've not been impressive for the last 4.5 years too. So I feel like it has to do with more of the administrative. It has to do with more of leadership in the German FA, and something needs to be done, because I was watching that game against, like, even when there were more games with much things to be at stake, like there were more qualifiers, something to play for. But I was more specific about watching that German game, and their display against the Japanese team was horrendous, to say the least. The fact that there's no cohesion in attack, their transition is terrible. I think the German side is a very talented side, and though they've had better teams in the past, the team that won the World Cup, the team that lost it, a couple, I think 20, they lost against Brazil. The team that lost against Brazil too was very good, the Oliver Kahn era. But I still feel they have the talent to weather whatever storm it is they are facing at the moment. So I think something needs to be done as soon as possible.
So if I am to pinpoint, so obviously there are several things that are probably wrong with their FA and what's going on in Germany. But if I'm going to pinpoint one particular thing, I'll probably go to the fact that they are not being as dominant and competitive at the youth level. And you need to go and look at one thing that has been constant over the past decades or previous decades is you always have solid under 20, under 17 German teams. And when you have a crop of solid talent at that level, it usually translates to having a well-rounded, a more successful senior team. And Germany, if you look at the person of their best players at the national team, they were not always maybe the best German players available, but they always had a system that they knew this is the way German plays, this is the way they play, and then they invite players based on that system, not just based on what looks attractive or what looks fine. So I think they probably need to, which is what a lot of countries have not been doing as well as in the past, where going back to the under 20 or the 17 level, pay attention to the crop of talent coming in and what exactly is going on in terms of developing those talents, and then see out the progression. Because if you don't have crop of talent coming in at youth level, it's difficult to compete at the senior stage, because every other team is developing every day, every year. Every team is getting better. Every team is trying to improve. Teams are spending money on their teams. Teams are spending money on their academies. So if I'm going to pinpoint one thing and say, okay, this is what they need to do, they probably need to pay attention to what exactly was going on at the youth level before that was making it successful, and probably bring back some of the things that was working for them.
Because I think I've hit nail on the head for me. One, I believe that sacking as a flick is an overreaction. Yes, he lost to Japan and every other thing, but in my opinion, it's still a friendly. And like Bright mentioned,
wait, who took them to the World Cup?
Huh?
Who took them to the World Cup? Who
was
took them to
Flick
the World Cup?
It was Flick.
And so why are you saying yes, he lost to Japan? So that's the only reason why he's sacking.
Wait, do you understand? If you want to sack him after
if it's something people don't like, you not give him grace. But because it's Flick, you say
sorry. Let me interrupt you.
It's a combination of
if you are see
now. So only until they go to next World Cup and they don't win, they don't go.
Bolish, you will listen. If you sack him after the World Cup, if you sack him after the World Cup for not going past group stage, justified. Do you understand? Like, boom, you can go.
They gave him grace like someone like you would have done.
What did he say?
They gave him grace.
They gave him grace like someone like you would have done.
Let's see if they can turn it around. And they've seen that he's not turning around, he's turning on you.
It's not even a case of giving him grace. It's a friendly, yes, quite all right. They lost at the World Cup, fine. But in 2018, when you lost at the group stage, you blamed Ozil. You said because Ozil took a picture with Turkey's president. That was the reason why you guys went to the World Cup and you performed woefully. Even Toni Kroos came out and said, yes, Ozil was the reason, no problem. You went to the Euros after that World Cup, you lost. You went to the World Cup again last year in December, you were woeful. You've been woeful since that World Cup as well. Like, what we've seen so far is systemic failure from the German national team. It's not a case of we went to tournament and we're bad. We've been bad for 6 years. Like, we've been bad for more than 6 years. And nobody's facing. It was easy to blame Ozil that time. It's easy to blame this guy. It's easy to blame another person. Until Germans sit down and say, like you mentioned, because before they became the dominant national team that we saw from 2008 to 2014 or 2016, back in 2000, after their disappointing outing at the Euros and the 1998 World Cup, the Germans decided and told themselves that, okay, something needs to change. We need to do something differently. We have players that are either too old or too young. We don't have like a good crop of players. So how do we do? Let's focus more on youth. Let's help clubs develop more talent and all this stuff. Then create more talents for the national team. The Germans have stopped creating talents for the national team. There's this belief that we have arrived, not knowing that the core of your team is getting older. Müller is in his 30s. Gundogan is in his 30s. Kroos is gone. Most of the guys that you looked up to, most of them are going. Rudiger is in his 30s. Like, there's no talent. You can't look at German setup and say, the players that are coming on a 20 or 21 level are coming to come and unseat the ones that are there already. So it's easy to sack as a Flick and be like, Flick needs to go. Let's go and bring it to the next one. When we get to the Euros next year, we are the one whose team will be the best thing since fried rice and will beat everybody up. It's not going to happen. If you don't change things, that is what for his sake, I hope he doesn't even take that job. Because the kind of beating that Germany will collect, is going to ruin his CV completely after what happened at Bayern. So Germany can
How do
sack
you
and
know?
see Flick and
How do you know?
Okay,
does
Don't they
Germany
don't
look
they
like a
have
team that
not
can
to
beat
be
them?
Nicodemus now?
I believe that in one way or the other, Hansi Flick he deserved the sacking because there was a point he was playing 3-5-2 just for the fun of it because everybody's playing 3-5-2. So you get
You
like
see, what me I want to, is sweet, is easy when you have all-star 11, Lewandowski, Alaba, what's his name, Alfonso Davies, Lam. It's sweet. Now, when there's no all-star, when there is anybody can pack a team of all-stars and be doing.
See, Bolly, you're speaking from a point of sentiment. Is that A2 that is still paying you?
No, you don't have sentiment.
It's
I don't
A2 that
understand.
is paying
Is
you.
there any
The
human
only
being that
is-
does not have sentiment?
my point is Hansi Flick deserves the sack. But we cannot deny the fact that whatever problem the German national team is facing is a structural problem, is an administrative problem. We
But
cannot deny
wait.
that.
Let me combat something because I don't understand. You people are trying to separate because the job you as a German manager, because you know they don't even use coach in Germany. They always have a manager and they have like someone that will be in the staff that will be head coach. If you remember, that's how they had Joachim Lau and who was the name of this guy that was his head coach. So
No, Joachim Low was head coach. Oliver Bierhoff is team manager.
Is his job to say, oh, this is what we need to get better. And he has had the job for how long now? At least he has had the job for 8 months. We are not saying, oh, this is how far it should have gone. But I'm sure if there were signs of some renovation within the squad, you know, in the first place, he was one that drastically moved a lot of people out of the squad. As I say,
that was this guy. That was Joachim Löw. You're making a mistake. It was Joachim Löw that removed those guys out of the squad. It was one that brought them back.
It was Joachim Löw that cleared out the squad.
There's no sign that there's any kind of, like, you can't look at the squad currently and say, oh, this 22-year-old, this 24-year-old, this 23-year-old is good. Are you telling me that there's no talent in Germany?
I'm not saying, no, you see, you're not getting my point. I'm not saying there's no talent. There's talent in Germany. There's talent enough to make it out of the group stages of the World Cup and to beat Japan. I'm telling you that sometimes, like Everton, for example, once a team is in free fall, you are eating that free fall until something changes. And let me just mention that it was changing from
the thing that will change, they first sack the manager now. When the team is in free fall,
you have sacked managers already.
We didn't sack Yasaku.
You sacked 2 managers already in the space of 3 years.
And you sack until you get it right.
To this guy. And nothing has changed.
You sack until you get it right. Why are you making it? I don't understand. Why are you making it seem like this is rocket science?
You don't turn out to Chelsea. You don't turn out to Chelsea.
Two of us, we agree on some things. We agree that there need to be maybe more emphasis on the youth development. Go and look at what is going on. Maybe something is happening there that is not happening as it used to be. Maybe someone was in charge of helping them grow their youth. We understand that. And we understand that, okay, maybe at the FA planning and whatever, we have to see some changes. But the truth is, the head coach or the manager, except maybe you are telling him that the kind of system that works sometimes in Nigeria, where previously in the past, some managers we've had and we've confirmed some of the reports, even in the past, that there were some managers that were receiving payments from some people to field some players, or some managers that were forced to play some players. Except you are telling me that that's what is going on in Germany. If that's not what's going on in Germany, that means you are telling me that he has the whole volition to choose his squad, and he's playing Havertz as 9, and I'm supposed to be bothered, and I'm supposed to be worried that they sack him. He's playing Havertz as a 9. They don't have any 9 in Germany. Is that what you're telling me? If you go to Freiburg, Wolfsburg, Schalke, there's no striker that can play 9 for the German national team.
The best German striker.
He deserves the sack. He's the number one problem of the squad. And the way the team will start, the way to change is to get a manager. Even if it's Nagelsmann that will come and he cannot do it and they sack him, that means it's not good enough. He should go to club. If you bring a manager that should have a direction and say, okay, this is what I want to do, and we should start seeing the difference. You cannot come and say, you cannot come and be doing, wait, I want to make one last point. You cannot come and be doing Havertz as a 9 that every single person in the whole world and their mommy and their grandmom knows that it's a dead on arrival tactic. And you're saying Hansi Flick does not deserve to be sacked.
I'm not defending Havertz as a 9 or something. You're making it seem like it's a club team.
You are defending Hansi Flick. You are saying he does not deserve sack.
No, you're making it seem like he has options that if he's not using Havertz as a 9, there are a bunch of other strikers that he can pick. The way
Wait.
Oh God, just listen. The best German striker in Germany is Niklas Füllkrug, who joined Dortmund this summer from Werder Bremen. He scored 12 goals in the league last season. 12. There's no planet where.
How many goals was Podolski scoring in the league when he was the top striker for Germany?
You would listen. I
made this conversation before that sometimes Andre Kramaric, how many goals does Kramaric score for his club?
You let me finish before you start jumping into the stats. Because now you're making it seem
see.
You're making it seem like when they were winning.
Let me clarify why I always jump in.
And when they were
I don't want us to be a Trump podcast, to be spreading misinformation. I don't like it. So when I sense when my brain sense misinformation, I jump in. It's triggered. It's triggered for me. That is not misinformation. I'm jumping.
How do you know what is misinformation when you don't even have the information? You're making it seem like you should go to Freiburg and all those players to get strikers.
Yes.
And the funny part is that you don't even want to listen. Where will you get the strikers from in Freiburg? I just told you that the best German striker scored 12 goals last season. Miroslav Klose, when they were winning championship and you were winning trophies, you had Klose, you had Müller at his peak, you had players, you had options. I'm not defending that, Hansi Flick should have done better. Yeah, he should have done better. But it's not a case of, Hansi Flick is picking players because he likes their smile or something. No, the Germans don't have options other than what he has put out there. Okay, who replaces Rudiger? Or who replaces Joshua Kimmich? The options that they have is quite limited. You could have the days whereby the Germans had so many players whereby you could feel like, okay, some players will not even be able, you'll be able to call up some. They don't have those options anymore. What they have is what they are using. Nico Schotterberg, Rudiger, Emre Can and co. That's the best that they can get. Timo Werner has 9, Florian Wirtz, Sani and co. That's the best that they have. There is no extra player coming from anywhere. There's no player in Freiburg
I disagree with you.
Okay, mention 3 players that you didn't call that you know.
I'm not going to collect your salary. Why you want me to do scouting job for Germany? I don't understand.
No,
I'm not in Germany. You want me to
do scouting job for Germany? You don't say I'm giving misinformation.
Wait. Let me tell you what.
Just mention 3 players. You said I gave misinformation. Mention 3 players that I picked.
Calm down. You don't have the information too. I'm just trying to calm down. I said I get triggered by misinformation. Now, let me tell you what I'm saying. There are national teams that are not as talented as Germany, and we watch their game and we see someone that we've never heard of before, that we don't know anything about. I was that guy is a solid player. He might not be the best, he might not be the greatest, he might not be the most fashionable, he might not even make sense. But you could see that in the way they try to play, in the system that this team has, this guy makes sense for this team. You cannot tell me that Kai Havertz as a 9 that we have seen in multiple places be a dead on arrival tactics is a viable option. Like, you know why I'm amping on that Kai Havertz as a 9? Because
he didn't even use Kai Havertz as a 9.
Wait. Me personally, I probably will not see through a German game except they're playing someone important. So I might not be able to give you full information. But there are some things that I'll watch. Listen now, but there's something I'll watch. I'm like, okay, does this coach want to win? If he wants to win, why is he doing this? And as much as Füllkrug or whatever scored 12 goals or whatever name you mentioned scored 13 goals, we've seen situations whereby having someone like Olivier Giroud as the striker made sense for a team. Even though in the league, Giroud might not be scoring 25 goals every season. I'm not using Giroud I'm not saying Giroud is bad. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the team setup, the weight setup, and the players that are playing, they don't look like they fit what they are trying to do. And that is a job of a manager. the full group that you are saying he scored 12 goals, he might get the German team and he might not score as much, but it might make sense for the way they want to play.
He's there.
That's
You don't
standard.
get. See, you are contradicting yourself. Nicholas Fulkrug is there. You see,
Does it start?
the point. Yes, he's there. Those players are selected and they don't perform. You're talking about Giroud and France. If Giroud doesn't score, he holds up play for Mbappe, Griezmann, and the likes. Germany can boast of him. Sane is not playing well. Müller is not playing well. Gnabry is not playing well. Bryce mentioned something about how Bayern is a copy of the German national team when they are playing well and everything. Bayern is not the same Bayern team. Those players are not the same players anymore. So even if Kai Havertz is playing rubbish or Timo Werner, who you use as your 9, is not performing well, Sane, Gnabry, those other Bayern players, Thomas Müller and co, they are past it. Like they don't have it. They are past it. They don't have it either. So it's not a case of, let me go to Freiburg and go and bring another player. You cannot go and bring it. If he decides that, okay, for this international weekend, I'm going to drop all these players that have been underperforming for me. Go and pick all the players that I've not picked before. Go to Freiburg, Mönchengladbach, and co. Pick all those players, and they get beaten again. The same media will come and be like, he's experimenting. He's throwing that at the.
If he does not experiment in friendship, friendly, when is he supposed to experiment?
I'm just telling you that damn if he does, damned if he doesn't. It was in a lose-lose situation. I'm not saying don't sack Hansi Flick. I'm telling you that sacking Hansi Flick does not solve the problem. The Germans have been deflecting their problem for 5 years now.
So that we can move forward. You made one statement. You said sacking Hansi Flick does not solve the problem. Does keeping him solve it?
No, see, Polish.
No. Wait.
You're making it seem like it's a black and white situation.
Let's move forward. We're not saying they should not sack Hansi Flick.
Let's move forward.
We're not saying they should not sack Hansi Flick. We are saying that
I don't think you understand what I'm saying.
We are saying that sacking Hansi Flick is not the solution. That yes, they sacked him.
He's keeping him the solution.
I just said now that the Germans have been deflecting their problem since 2018. 2018, you blamed Ozil. 2021, you blamed Joachim Löw. You have blamed people for 6 good years.
I don't know why you are going back to 2018.
Just listen. Do you understand?
This is 2023. We are saying right now, based on what's going on in that squad, based on what happened in the last World Cup and what's going on in that sport, you said sacking as a Flick is not the solution. He's keeping him the solution. It's a simple yes or no.
You know what? For some reason, you seem to think that it's black or white. It's like, okay, you know what? Sack as a Flick, keep as a Flick.
It's pink. It's pink like Inter Miami jersey. Answer the question. It's not black or white.
We all know that football is never black or white. So whether you want to,
when you people want to say, when you want to twist the truth, that's what you're looking for. Black and white, green and blue.
Anyway,
you see, keeping him. You see, you cannot even commit. You cannot even commit to the fact that keeping Hansi Flick is part of the solution. We cannot commit to it. And we have been discussing Hansi Flick for 5 minutes.
I don't understand how it's so difficult for you.
I made a case for sacking Hansi Flick that sometimes he uses tactics without an aim. So we are not saying that they should not sack Hansi Flick. We are saying that sacking Hansi Flick alone, like in isolation, does not solve the problem. That's what we are saying. We are not saying they should not sack Hansi Flick.
But we both agree that they need to look at their youth. They need to look at what is happening in their talent.
Yes, that's what we are saying.
We agree that. But me, I'm saying that one of the first steps to also do is also to sack the manager that is underperforming. You cannot just say, oh, you are doing that, you are trying to, work behind the scene and all that stuff. There's a reason why Joachim Löw probably tried to bring in those young guys at that time. He probably saw that, okay, with the way we are going, if we don't try to develop some guys and bring them to the national team from now, we might not be able to compete going forward. And that's probably why he made that move then. So you can't just say, so that's what I was saying.
They still sacked him. So what's the point? Do you understand? They still sacked him.
Like was sacking
him. Tried something new. Was the same way
forward?
As if we could have tried something that would still have gotten sacked. So they still sacked him. So whether you see at the same time, you are going towards our own point in the sense that the Germans have one problem and one problem.
It's the people that are sacking.
What is their problem?
They have one problem and they have one problem.
The problem.
See, instead of facing what the problem is or searching for what the problem is internally, You keep deflecting. Every year you are blaming somebody else.
And what is the problem now? You said they have one problem.
As what I said, the problem is that they are deflecting. Before, in 2018, you blamed Ozil. Before,
we are not in therapy now. We are not in therapy. What do you mean by that deflecting? What is all this therapeutic language that we are using from? I said, what is the problem? You said that people are not taking accountability. We are not in AA class. You see, when you say this is their problem, I was expecting something football related. Are you saying that because they are not?
Is it that you're not understanding what I'm saying? I'm saying that rather than look for what the problem is internally, they are deflecting.
I said
that's
structurally.
That's
they have a problem structurally.
They have a problem internally. Rather than look for it, we're deflecting. That's my point.
I know that Wale he has camera and he used to do video, right? I didn't know that he started doing general secretary. Wait. I know you started doing general secretary. And you have been in the meetings of the German FA, capturing their notes, and you have inline access to what they are doing.
What you are saying does not even make sense. We don't need to have.
Can we just move to the next topic?
You have analyzed Barcelona's problems 1,001 times. Do you understand? So,
and I don't think at any point it has been clear.
Another person called you out and said that, oh, you have Laporta's number personally. So let's not even dive into that.
I will report something going on in someone's mind.
Who reported what's going on in somebody's mind?
He said they are not taking accountability. That's a state of the mind.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Taking accountability is a state of the mind.
Can we just move on? Like, I was so close to squaring on this team now. Can we just move on?
Anyway, I don't think there's any other thing to move on to.
As a flick on my lord.
Time is fast spent, and at the end of the day, the Germans will be fine. Whether they are fine or not next year when they host the Euros, the worst thing that can happen is that you will lose. Nobody's going to die. Because of how much time we have spent on this and we are losing so much time, at this point, I'll just focus on the Ballon d'Or before I call it a night, because I know for a fact that Messi fans and Barcelona fans like Polish they have been debating and shouting and fighting on Twitter that if Messi doesn't win it, the whole world should come to an end. I'm just going to say something that having a World Cup in November, December, compared to a guy that scored something goals that won the treble, there is a difference. Do you understand? Like, there is a difference. And we've seen years whereby Messi did not even win the World Cup and he got beaten like a thief. And he still won the Ballon d'Or and took it home. So now you people coming to come and emotionally blackmail us that, oh, Messi won the World Cup and he deserves the Ballon d'Or. You people are very good at moving goalposts. You have moved the goalpost again.
You want to answer? Are you still talking or you are done?
I'm done. I'm going to sleep. That's all for me.
You are going to sleep. But the parody, you need to go to sleep. See, you need to.
Element, just listen. He wants to defend them. Yeah, go.
No, you need to know how people, when they are coming like this, if they don't go straight, you know that they don't know what to say. They are trying to defend. You are saying there has never been a time in the 15 how many years whatever of Messi's career that you have ever looked at Messi's season and said he won the season because of goals. There's never been a time. It has always been exceptional play on the pitch. Like, it has never been a time that you say, the only reason why he won is because he scored 50-something goals. No, there's never been a time. Even in 2010, when it was the first time that someone beat Ronaldo de Lima's record, that was not the reason why he got the Ballon d'Or. He played as good, as exceptional as Ronaldinho when he was winning the Ballon d'Or, and he was still scoring. Is the only argument where goals come in and when it became a constant conversation was when people were trying to find a way to justify Cristiano Ronaldo winning some of the awards. They found because there was a time where Messi won.
You are lying. We have used goals as a start for Messi before.
I'm saying there's never been a time when that was the only reason. I'm not saying we have not used goals. Goals obviously matter.
That's not Alan's only reason now.
Alan was the best player in Man City. Wait. Alan was the best player in Man City.
Please. Was
Alan the best player in Man City?
Who was the best player? Who was the best player in Man City?
De Bruyne now.
Polish, defend Messi. Let's go and sleep, please. Somebody's copied something
No,
goes in his team.
no.
To
I
win,
need
you're
to-
telling
I
me
need
it's
to
De
confirm.
Bruyne.
So Kevin De Bruyne was not their best player.
Polish, I've heard you. Defend your this. Let's go.
Was De Bruyne in the top 5?
See, that's what I'm saying. In 2018, Messi was not in 2018. Messi was not in the top 5.
So wait. I want to use your
top
logic.
5 of the Ballon d'Or.
I want to use your logic now. I know that I'm trying. I tried not to talk, but you just know how to pull those strings. Now let us use your logic. That
Okay.
it is not about goals. And if
No,
I use your logic,
no. I didn't say it's not about goals. No. I didn't say it's not about goals. You people are misquoting me. The statement I made is very simple. I said there have never been a time in Messi's career that you looked at the season and the only thing you thought about is that just because of the goals. It was always a case of, this guy plays so well as a playmaker and the goals. Huh?
Most calendar goals in a year. Was that not what they used to give him the Ballon d'Or in 2012?
Like, I don't get it.
Wait.
Are you
In
trying to change
2012,
history?
Did you guys? Okay, maybe because I watch Messi a lot.
We watch
games.
Messi. You're not the only one that watches Barca. We watch Messi.
I don't just see the stats.
Whenever you want to make this argument, try to segregate your logic from emotion. Sure, you get. Like, I will not lie to you. After this World Cup, I came to the sole conclusion that Messi is a planet away from Ronaldo. That has nothing to do with my bias. That has nothing to do with my emotion. Only a bozo would not agree that Messi is the greatest. That one settled. Now, but to now say that you are bundling the Ballon d'Or this year for Messi because of what he did in the World Cup and ignore whatever spectacular achievement Man City and Alan was able to achieve that same time frame. Now, and now say because of I would never belittle the World Cup is the greatest tournament of all time. To now say because of what he did within the span of a month should supersede what somebody did within the span of 8 months, bro, it is utterly ridiculous. Baba was a bar fest in PSG. Yes,
that's how was Messi a bar fest in PSG?
Wait, the whole team was a bar fest, but Baba too was also a bar fest in PSG.
What are you trying to say?
Wait, you cannot now isolate a month out of 8 months and now say you are judging the whole 8 months based on 30 days.
Okay, let me ask a question so that we don't
because when we try to wait. When we tried to do that in 2010, you all told us that it's a lie. That was what you told us. Because you were the same set of people that told us that you cannot judge a whole year by World Cup. That there has been this bias of we giving it to World Cup winners. That was how we were able to give it to this Italian defender. That we gave Cannavaro. That Cannavaro did not deserve it. That immediately after the World Cup, he was useless.
What of 2014? What of 2014?
What of 2014?
Yeah.
He gave it to Ronaldo. He won Champions League.
He won the Champions League now. Did he win the World Cup?
He did not win the World Cup. That's what I'm saying. There are cases. Wait.
One Champions League.
You're not telling yourself. You're making a counter argument for yourself.
You guys already have your notion set.
No.
And I have my notion set. The one thing I like to dispel, what I want to dispel is the fact that one person has sentiment and that person does not have. We both are discussing this with sentiment. Forget all those one you use.
There's nobody's going anything with sentiment.
All those you are discussing with sentiment.
I'm supposed to prepare Alan to mess
down. Discussing with sentiment too. Forget that one. Now, let me break down.
As a United fan, I'm supposed to support.
In case maybe you people don't know Ballon d'Or or what exactly is about. Let me break down for you. In 2006, Cannavaro won Ballon d'Or. Wait. In 2006, Cannavaro won Ballon d'Or. In 2010, people were saying Schneider, that did not win the final, should win Ballon d'Or because they could not pick someone from. They said Schneider or Iniesta to win Ballon d'Or. But what people fail to consider is that in that 2010, that was the first time since 1997 that some of the records that Ronaldo de Lima set were broken. if that 2010 season happened in maybe 2009 and maybe what made something else that was just simple happened in 2010, it would have been a different ball game. If you have a season like that, there's no way they will not consider. Wait, there's no way they will not consider that when determining the Ballon d'Or. It's not like you're saying. It's not like you're saying.
That used to defend 2010 is wrong. Schneider won the treble. Took Netherlands.
He was not the best player in Inter. He did not win the best player in Europe. He did not win the best player in Serie A. He did not win the best player in Serie A.
In my own
So Osimhen did not win the best player in Serie A. Does it mean that Osimhen was not the best player in Italy?
Who was the European MVP? They won treble.
Schneider
won treble. Which of the tournaments did Schneider win best player for?
Who was instrumental to Inter winning the treble?
Schneider was
the
best.
He didn't win the Golden Ball at the World Cup. No, did he win in Europe?
Schneider was the best player by a mile as Inter went to the treble. Inter won that treble.
He was the best player in all the competitions.
2 goals in the final. Schneider assisted those 2 goals. It was Schneider.
What's the point?
No Schneider.
The same argument you used for KDB.
They went to the World Cup. Schneider was the best player in the World Cup again.
I'm not saying. Wait. I'm not saying.
Telling me that because Messi had 1 good month, we should give him the Ballon d'Or for just 1 month. Compared to
Messi did not have 1 good month.
1 month.
Messi did not have 1 good month. And the precedent was set when they gave Modric Ballon d'Or in 2018. The precedent was set that if you win or you have a good World Cup or you win the Golden Ball in World Cup, there's a very high chance that you win the Ballon d'Or.
Modric did not even win the World Cup. Modric did not even win the World Cup. So what's your point?
But why did they give him the Ballon d'Or? Why did they give Modric the Ballon d'Or?
Because it was.
He had a good season in his club. He had a good season in Madrid. What are you saying? You're thinking that it's just the World Cup. You won the Champions League.
You know Ronaldo was on that Champions League team.
I'm not arguing that Ronaldo was on Champions League team.
Modric and Ronaldo was their best player. You know Ronaldo was their best player in that Champions League team.
I'm not arguing that wasn't their best player. Modric played very well.
He's accumulating what?
For 9 months. He played well all through a calendar year, not 1 month.
Baba was dying in Farmers League. He now performed well once. You're not shouting.
In 13, you're telling me you're going to give me the Ballon d'Or for
because all you people used to analyze his goals. That's why you're saying Messi dying in Farmers League. How many assists do you have?
Quick eye test. Go to this same year that we're talking about. Go to SofaScore and go and be looking at his player rating, and you will see. I think there was buying. So tell me.
The part about this is that I don't even care about SofaScore and that thing.
You care that all these sentimental words you used to insert inside your conversation.
One thing I've come to learn about the Ballon d'Or, like Arsene Wenger said, is the people that vote, the journalists, the captains, the coaches that vote, we end up voting for Messi. Do you understand? Yes, Arsene Wenger said that a year ago that the media always has this soft spot for Messi. Do you understand? Like people always have soft spot for Messi and every other thing. Like they will end up voting
because
for Messi.
They can see now. Because their head to party did not cover their ability to see what's going on the pitch.
Well, it's no problem. 1 month in football, 1 month of playing in Qatar is better than somebody that's scored something good and won the treble. You know the funny part is that in the future, a Barcelona player will win the treble too. You will come back and start telling us how the treble is.
It's not today they have been robbing Barcelona. This is not the first. You know how many times they rob Messi of the Ballon d'Or? Because he has 7 doesn't mean that
when did they rob it? Please.
Which tell us when Ballon d'Or? Which one?
Please tell him.
Which one?
Tell us when they robbed it.
You must. Please. Which
tell
one?
Us.
In 2019.
2019.
He has 2 Ballon d'Ors with team that does not belong to him.
And Ronaldo has 2 that does not belong to him also now.
If you say Schneider and Van Dijk,
that's Schneider own. I can argue that for 20 years. Schneider did not deserve the Ballon d'Or. You can go.
Schneider did not deserve the cake.
Did not deserve spoon dog. Schneider, I beg.
Well done, sir.
Schneider did not deserve the Ballon d'Or.
No problem.
So that means you're saying Ribery should have won in 2013.
Well done, sir. Well done,
Yes.
sir.
Schneider did not deserve the
Giving very
Ballon d'Or.
competent. Eh?
Schneider did not deserve the Ballon d'Or.
I say you were watching those matches. You were watching it with your glasses that season. I'm telling you. You are telling me Schneider was not deserve. That is Eto that is their best player. Eto ko.
I never said Eto was their best player. That's not what I said.
Okay, who was their
Okay,
best
who was
player?
their best
Who was
player?
their
I
wait,
said-
wait, wait,
I said-
who was their best player? Who
I
was their
said
best
that
player?
team,
Yes or
that
no?
team
Who was
was
their best
not
player?
obvious and clear and say, okay, this is
Who-
the undisputed best player.
Excuse sir.
Schneider
There are
was-
games where you see it was Milito you see. There are games where you see it was Eto. There are games where you see it is Schneider. It's not
We're
like you
talking
can say
about not using goals. I want to focusing on goals. The only person that even this argument you are making against Schneider is the same argument that a Ronaldo fan will make against Ribery for 2013 because when Bayern were dealing with Barcelona back in 2013 and Bayern were winning all those trophies.
no, that's the mistake. You cannot make
There
this
was
argument with Messi
was
because
no-
Messi is not only goals. You did not watch Messi in 2010. You cannot say you saw football in 2010 and you saw what Messi did in Barcelona and you are telling me Schneider deserves the Ballon d'Or over him.
What we saw in football.
Except you are saying it's no longer an individual award.
About the impact of
No,
Messi.
no.
He said
You see, you are
Messi.
making
He said Messi.
this statement.
He said
This
Messi.
statement you are making.
Schneider beat him. Oh, he beat him for Camp Nou. This
Congratulations to Schneider. Schneider was not defending Messi. It was what's the name of this guy? Stankovic about that. Yeah, and the other guy, the Brazilian Topalori, Cambiaso. The two of them that Mourinho put on Messi. And that's I'm not denying that Inter team. That Inter team was start and they were good. They were outside they won the treble. But I'm saying if you watch that year, if you watch that year, wait. If you watch that year, Messi was doing things that they've not seen in a long time in terms of gameplay. When Ratinho was winning Ballon d'Or, even though some people say, there's a year Henry should have won it.
What do you mean by doing things? Doing things, Mitibao, doing things.
Like what was doing on the pitch? What was doing on the pitch?
No problem.
Like what Messi was doing on the pitch?
You need to win things with what you are doing on the pitch to win the Ballon d'Or, not do things. People do things. People do things every year. Anyway, I think we lost the leverage.
Messi was not trophyless. Messi won 2 trophies that season.
Okay, no problem. I've heard you. We'll give it to anybody that wins the Liga next year. That's fine. Do you understand?
La Liga is the best league in the world. It's not about Korogbe, and all those things you guys are doing.
No problem. When by the time Tebas is done with you people know you're not the best league in the world. But that's neither here nor there.
Tebas is dealing with us. But Sevilla still went all the way to win Europa, beating all the English elites.
Europa. Who won Champions League?
Who won last year?
No, I'm just asking. I'm not going to lie.
I'm asking you. It's a continuous question. And how many have you won in the last 10 years? How many have you won in the last 10 years?
Don't take Messi and Ronaldo. We don't come up for La Liga, but when compete with
how many have? So when Madrid won 2 years ago, were Messi and Ronaldo there?
No, I'm just telling you that La Liga is not that league.
I'm just telling you, no, Mbappe is coming next year. Even though he's not coming to my team, Mbappe is going to come.
Can you imagine? You're happy that Mbappe is going to come and join the enemy?
No, he's coming to La Liga. Anything that makes La Liga better, I'm fine. I'm good. I'm fine about
it. Even if Madrid end up winning La Liga,
they won't win. See, that's the thing that people are mistaken. The fact that Mbappe is coming and Madrid will use their action and experience to win Champions League doesn't mean they will win La Liga. That La Liga, we always have a stake and a right to compete and do well in La Liga, regardless of whoever they have. Even if they sign all the all-stars.
No be really stake and right. Anyway, I think our time is fast spent. We have to call it a night.
Messi will win the Ballon d'Or, and all of you will have kwachoko, convulsion, 40-40, all the kind of illness that used to affect bad people. That's what will happen.
The people that vote will end up voting for him, but nobody can tell me that he deserves it. So let's not even go there.
So what's now why do we now what's now the essence of winning the World Cup? If the World Cup, if the best player and the clear undisputed best performer in the World Cup is not going to win the Ballon d'Or.
See, in 2014, we didn't give it to the best player clear undisputed at the World Cup. In 2010, we didn't give it to the best player clear undisputed at the World Cup. What are you saying now?
Who was the best player clearly undisputed at the World Cup? Tell me.
In 2014, that was James Rodriguez's World Cup now.
That was Messi's World Cup. You see what I'm saying? You will just watch without seeing anything. How you tell me that Messi Rodriguez played better than Messi at that 2014 World Cup?
Polish, I need to end this show. Do you understand? I need to go now. When you get your
because you don't have a point, so
I'll
that's
give you
fine.
them. Do you understand? Because I don't know why you'll be telling me that Messi, who failed to score a knockout stage goal in that World Cup, played
Who is
better than
looking at
Messi.
goals now as the only metric? Who is looking at goals now?
I said performance. I didn't say goals. Oh, I said performance. He didn't score a single knockout stage goal. A single knockout stage goal in the World Cup. I should take him over James. That took Colombia.
Because it's not just about goals. It's about creativity.
Okay, no
it's
problem.
about dribbling. It's about playmaking. It's not just goals.
Okay, no, I don't hear. No,
James score. Rodriguez. James never win goals.
Even that it was Ronaldo that won the World Cup. It was Ronaldo that won Ballon d'Or after it. I beg your pardon. That won the FIFA Ballon d'Or after
Madrid. No man shele.
So this one, the World Cup is a month. You need to have a very good season. Then World Cup adds to it.
Wait. Let me ask you a question before you. That's the final question before you close the video. If Messi had won the 2014 World Cup, will he have won the Ballon d'Or?
If Messi had won 2014, I swear they would have voted for him.
That's all.
He was still in top 3. Do you understand?
No. Have a good day. You say you are the one that be saying you want to close since.
Yeah, I'm just telling you right now that because listen, I'm just trying to tell you right now that if you had won the World Cup and every other thing, he had a good season too in Europe. It's not as if not the one in PSG whereby for 8 months he did not play anything, then he goes to the World Cup, play something. You should not give him Ballon d'Or. Oh, wrong now.
What do you mean by 8 months he did not play anything? I just saw a 50-minute video of Messi destroying French.
Okay, 20. You have done YouTube compilation. Bullish. Good night to our listeners. You have joined YouTube compilation gang. You saw a 15-minute compilation.
A 50. That's more than what some people do in their whole life. Messi had how many goals and assists?